The views and comments expressed on the following radio program by its hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of rmconair.com or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
King, no half-stepper. They say, why would he? They say, how could he? That's how they push me to the brink. Stagger in my foot. Yeah. New Tigolo. 4:30. 7:30. 2:15. Hey yo, don't need a new style. Being dope is always in fashion. Beast to the West Coast, montage fashion. Everything's in-house, don't need a mansion. Doper than the last one. 4:30. Like me, Al mix. I spit that foul, yeah, and one. Everybody swing and holler at me if you land one. Don't need perfection, just pass on, and don't need to be signed. I ain't got a cast on. Lot of opportunity, easy bread I passed on. It just felt troubling. Now class is in session and we got them testers bubbling like Scantron, fresh out the kitchen. Signed with a stamp on. I'm on some greatness, y'all on some lateness with no foundation, so it could never last long. I displayed patience. I done played Jason. It's Saturday the 14th. You got a mask on. Come on, pushing me to the brink. A stagger in my footsteps, and I don't even drink. It's so much on my mind, dog, and I can't even think.
Hello, world. Once again, we are back, and you are with us in the Locker Room. Locker Room Live. I'm your host, Smitty Clutch.
I am John Reed. Hit me, I am John Reed on Twitter.
You can hit me at Smitty Clutch on Twitter.
Yo, we got a great show.
As always.
But before we get started, we want to thank y'all out there in the world watching us on RMC On Air. Mm-hmm. Feel free to call us at any point tonight to join the conversation.
Yeah, join the family, man.
The phone number to call in. Grab your pencils, grab your pens, punch it in your phone, 323-965-1600.
Yes, we want you all in the locker room. We want full participation, and this is going to be fun. We got a good show. We have some playoff news as always. Of course. We have more current sports news as always. Of course. And we have a great interview from a young and up and coming coach, Kense Henson of Montana. So
he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it real large. Yeah. And he's, like I said, he's a young, very up and coming coach. And we are going to bring him into the locker room and pick his brain.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
You get to hear from the one of the real cats in the game.
In the trenches, like, behind the scenes that can, put the X's and O's and the reasons and the strategies behind what they do in football.
Right. But he's on his grind, though. You know what I mean?
Of course,
people don't know how much work it takes to get to a head coaching job.
Yeah. We critique them all the time. What is he doing? What is that coach doing?
We have no idea what he went through to get there.
Not only do we not know what he's doing, we don't know what we're talking about most of the time. So let's jump right into it, man. As always, right into the NBA playoffs, and we got a good one with Miami and Indiana. Which is it still going on right now?
Yeah, that game is still going on. Okay, I'm gonna try to get us a score update in just a second, but we're gonna talk about the last game, right?
Yeah, you do that. This is a series of defense. Yes. All defense. We got Miami, which is ranked 5th in total defensive opposition points, and we have Indiana, which is ranked 2nd. So, we got two juggernauts as far as defense is concerned going head-to-head with each other.
Okay, so score update. We got Miami up 88-87 with 5 minutes to go in the ball game.
So, yeah, it's going down to the wire just like game one.
And relatively low scoring. I mean,
of course.
It's defense.
It's defense. Right. And like I said, they both play defense, but they do it differently. Miami does it with speed and quick rotations. Right. And we saw that was evident in game one when George Hill had problems just getting the ball up half court. Right. It looked like, CYO or, middle school basketball.
Tell them half court press only, right?
On the one little kid that doesn't dribble that well, no disrespect to George Hill, but he struggled. Right. And then of course Indiana does it with just strength and physicality.
Yeah. They're not afraid to mix it up inside.
Yeah, and they're a long team. They have a lot of tall players. Hibbert is 7'2". You got Paul George, who's 6'8" with long arms. Yeah. So they defend well.
And Hibbert is not scared to give you a nice little forearm shiver.
Exactly. So, for a guy like me, I love these kind of series. This is real basketball. This is when the men come out.
Like we were talking about last week. This is like Bulls Pistons back in the day.
This is old school basketball right now.
You got to love it. I was watching it a little bit before we came to the studio today. And, they said, LeBron kind of backed up off of David West. David West starting to post him up.
Oh, yeah. David West is physical now.
LeBron backing up off somebody because he don't want the contact.
Yeah, David Wes is a big physical boy. And you mentioned the Bulls and the old Piston teams.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that you said it because I feel like this Heat team compares to those old Bulls, that Bulls 96 team defensively.
Very much so.
You look at the wing defense with, of course, LeBron and D Wade.
Yep.
You look at that Bulls team with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Of course.
Two of the best defenders in the league. Both teams.
Yeah.
And then you throw in Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Who was
Birdman.
Oh man. Yeah, Birdman. I'll get to him. But you throw in Dennis Rodman, who was very athletic, very versatile. People only know him for the wild hair and the piercings and the dresses. But we're talking about on the court, this guy could guard. Yeah. And we're talking from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And the Heat have that also with Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
He's not as physical as Dennis Rodman, but he can guard different positions, and he's great off that pick and roll.
Absolutely.
So you want to get into some
well, let's break down game 1.
Yeah, let's break it down.
All right, so we're gonna run some video here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a memorable game that we had that game 1.
Definitely.
I mean, one of the craziest endings I've ever seen.
Crazy. I mean, it seems like every year. I mean, the NBA is just really growing.
Yeah.
Because it's not NFL, of course. Right now. But just looking where it's come from the days of Mike, and then, we had that drought when we thought, it may never be the same. And now it's right back with LeBron and company.
Right.
So let's get right to it. We look here, and David West is getting right to work.
Yeah.
And what I find is very interesting about this series is that Miami's going small. So they're trying to force their way of play onto the Pacers. Mm-hmm. And the Pacers are saying, well, we're going to play the way we play by staying big.
Right.
I personally feel that Miami should go big and play the Birdman more. As you see, this is Paul George right here with this big shot.
Which is a crazy shot.
Yes.
I mean, it was actually good defense. They're closing out 3-4 feet past the three-point line, and he still pulls up and knocks down a big shot.
How do you feel about this guy, Paul George? Are we watching a superstar in the making?
I think so.
I mean,
I don't see him getting worse.
Exactly,
So.
right? I mean, I think this matchup against, look at him. He's taking over, getting an and one here. I think this matchup for LeBron is going to do wonders for him.
And I think, the fact that they didn't get scared in overtime. They said, no, we're going to take it right to these guys.
No way. I mean, and Paul George said last year that he wanted another crack at Miami.
Yeah.
And you don't see that from a young player saying, hey, calling out, I want LeBron and Co.
Yeah, a lot of people, like when they're watching LeBron or they're watching Kobe, they sit back and watch in awe and not compete.
Yeah, they watched on that defensive play right there as LeBron went for the layup.
And they watched on the last play, too.
Exactly. And as we see here, there you have it, George Hill again fumbling the ball. But luckily they got it back, and questionable call here.
Was it a foul?
I didn't see one.
I didn't either.
I don't think you can call that at this time in the game.
No, I don't think so either.
But like I said, George Hill struggled with turnovers. But Paul George is here to pick it, and he makes a play here. Let's give Paul, he tried to hit another one.
Right.
He got greedy. He won 2.
And you got to contest that shot because he hit the one before.
And then the clutch of this guy to go up there and make 3 free throws.
Right.
Now this is the play. Yeah. Now this is what we're going to talk about.
And a lot of people had, a problem with the defense that was played. Like, he overplayed.
Yeah.
He just played
he did
completely wrong. He did overplay.
He did.
Right.
He played him almost like he was Kobe. In that situation, you expect a player like Kobe to get the ball and maybe do a fadeaway. So you want to crowd him. I think with a player like LeBron, you got to play him honest. And I just think Paul George really, really overplayed him defensively.
I don't know if you can do that. It's like baseball. You're facing somebody that's throwing a 105-mile-an-hour fastball. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to sit there and analyze the pitch as it's coming down.
Right.
You got to pick your spots. You're like, okay, I'm in his mind. Maybe he's going to throw a fastball. I'm going fastball.
Right.
So you're thinking LeBron, he's either going to pull up for the quick 3 or fade away or something, or he's going to turn and go to the basket. He had to make a decision.
He made a very decisive decision.
He was wrong.
Yeah. Oh, LeBron made the decisive decision.
LeBron did. Yeah, for sure.
Now people are saying are questioning Vogel's strategy as far as taking out Hibbert on that play. As you see, the big 7'2" guy was not there, who would have been in to protect the basket. We heard Charles Barkley on TNT saying he made the right decision because Chris Bosh is in there. He can hit a mid-range jump shot. I personally disagree. With 2.2 seconds on the clock, hey, if Chris Bosh knocks down that jumper, he knocks it down. I think you got to have the big guy in there to stop all penetration.
I would love to disagree with you just for the sake of the show.
Right. But you can't.
Because it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what?
Go ahead and agree. Go ahead and agree, buddy. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
But I do agree.
Right.
That you gotta force a jump shot. You can't give up a layup.
Right.
And if you got one play where you need to play good defense and your best defensive player is on the bench.
Right.
That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, let me show you how prepared I was, just in case you did disagree. I got some stats for you. I got some stats about LeBron. This is his 4th playoff game winner layup.
Interesting.
Layup, not jumper.
Yeah, what jump shots?
Layup.
For game winners.
I mean that I don't know, but I have some more stats for you.
Okay.
People for a long time. What was the knock on LeBron? He wasn't clutch. Can't close. Interesting because you know what? Since he's entered the league in 2003, he has shot 44% in the last 24 seconds.
Wow.
That is number one in our generation right now.
That sounds like a closer to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a closer. The league average is 27%. So let's think about that for all the LeBron haters. This is specifically for you. I'm pointing at you. If you know, oh, LeBron, he chokes, and well, the numbers don't say so. Let's go a little deeper. He's 7 for 16 in these situations of game tying or go ahead field goals.
Can't argue with that.
Can you argue with that?
Men lie.
I think, but numbers definitely don't lie. At least most of the time. I don't know. Let's just keep going with the stats because LeBron, I mean, he's doing it all.
Yeah.
He's the second player in playoff history with 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 blocks. That's what he did in game 1.
I mean, men lie.
Numbers don't. And just in case you want one more, let me give you one more.
All right, stat boy.
I'm stat guy today. He is the first player in the playoffs with a triple-double and a buzzer beater in the same game.
Wow, where'd you get that one from?
Don't worry about that. That's my secret. That's my recipe.
Is that even
That's what
true?
I'm cooking up.
Did you just
in
make
the kitchen?
That up?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I'm not even that good. But LeBron is that good. The guy's awesome.
Yeah. And, you know, we had a little conversation on Twitter, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Are we looking at the greatest of all time? I mean,
well,
people like to say, I mean, I don't know. We can have this conversation too.
Whoa there.
We're blue in the face. I mean, hey, I like Mike just as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
But I think if he stays at this pace for the remainder of his career, and we're expecting him to play, another 10 years?
Oh, yeah. If he stays at this pace, of course.
If he stays healthy, at least 10 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy. He's gonna crush every record.
I agree. I mean, we saw a lot. We had Harold Miner. Remember that, Baby Jordan? That was a joke.
Jason Richardson.
Vince
Carter.
Those were all jokes. Kobe was probably the closest of our generation. But even then, I felt Kobe just didn't have the. And it's funny because Phil Jackson has come out and said this in his book.
Right.
He didn't have the efficiency and the leadership that Michael Jordan had.
The leadership.
That's my opinion. But now with this guy LeBron, who is efficient.
And that was one
50% from the field.
And one of the ESPN analysts was saying after that shot, LeBron didn't turn around and jump into his teammates' arms. He didn't go run off the court in jubilation.
This is what I do.
This is what I do.
That's what I do.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
Another day at the office.
It was fun.
Yeah. So if this is easy for him, I don't know. I think sky's the limit.
He hit the same game winner against Orlando. Left hand, left side of the court, game winner, go home.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, though. You got to make him shoot a jump shot.
You got to make him shoot a jump shot.
Give up
but I mean, who knows if that works. So, yeah. And we got another series, not as exciting as this one. Well, actually, it was pretty exciting. This last game, too.
You know,
Memphis and the Spurs.
It's just a different style game.
Yeah, it's a grinder.
Yeah. And I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy seeing the guys in there getting physical.
I mean, look, the
theme kind of like football.
Yeah, the theme of this playoff is defense.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that, please go Locker Room Live.
That's right.
TV.com. LockerRoomLiveTV.com. I wrote an article on this in which defense wins championships, in which I detail all these teams, and I go real in depth on how they play defense.
Yeah.
And please go read the article because it will give you more insight on what these playoffs is about, which is all defense. Because what I call Memphis are the Memphis Bullies. They're very similar to the Detroit Bad Boys of the 90s.
I would agree.
They beat you up.
I'd agree.
But they're not doing too well against the Spurs. No bullying. Yeah.
So yeah, what is the Spurs game plan?
They don't like bullies. That's their game plan. Right now, the Spurs are just shutting down Zach Randolph.
Well, that helps. Yeah. There's a couple things the Spurs are doing. That's not the only thing that they're doing to get ahead in this series.
No, that's not the only thing, but that's what they're doing well. Zach Randolph was 6 for 18 last game.
He looks so frustrated.
Yeah. You want more stats? Because I'm on a roll.
Stat boy. Take us away.
He has only 7 post-up points this whole series, and that's in 2 games.
And this is a post-up guy.
And he was number 1 in the NBA with averaging 9 a game. Wow. He has 7 total in 2 games. So, and he's shooting about 20%. I'm sorry, I gave him too much credit. 16% in the paint.
Wow.
As a team.
In the paint. That's a high percentage shot. It's supposed to be.
Memphis as a team is shooting 16% from inside the paint.
Wow.
And can you say Timmy?
Right.
Tim Duncan is in there affecting shots, playing like he's 25.
And it's so crazy because you're watching it and you see it a little bit,
yeah.
But you don't really notice all the little things that he does to keep guys just not comfortable in the paint.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And he's not going to broadcast it. He's about as boring as,
And it's like nobody realizes how real this dude is on defense.
He's as boring as like Idaho. He's just like watching paint. He's efficient,
paint
though.
Dry and grass grow.
The big fundamental. We need to give him some swag. He's too good to not have any swag.
Yeah.
Even though I hate the word swag.
Yeah, who came up with swag?
I don't know. That's another show, and that's all together. But yeah, the Spurs. Tony Parker's penetration, the Frenchman.
I think that's even a bigger factor than shutting down Zach Randolph.
He's getting into the paint.
Whenever that happens, they're unstoppable.
Yeah, he's doing real point guard stuff because I know Tony Parker as a scoring point guard that really attacks the rim.
Right.
And it seems like he had 18. Do we have a caller?
I don't know. I see the light flashing.
Yeah, he had 18 assists last game.
18 assists.
18 assists, career high, and that's a
Rondo
franchise
numbers
high.
right
Yeah,
there.
that's a franchise high for the Spurs.
Wow.
So we
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those are real time Rondo point guards, Chris Paul type numbers.
And it's making guys like Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green look so good. Danny Green is a great shooter. Kawhi Leonard, great player, all around guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if he's on another team without a point guard like Tony Parker, this guy's not shining.
Oh, no
These guys
way.
are not shining.
Not yet. He's still young.
Yeah.
Let's get into those highlights.
Let's roll them. Let's roll them. So I thought this was an interesting game because of the physicality, and I thought Memphis really did have a chance. They were kind of hanging around all game, but I didn't really see a whole lot from Mike Conley, and I was kind of surprised.
He had a pretty good game. He had some big shots late, but yeah,
we need him to be a Tony Parker.
Yeah, and the hype train. Everyone has jumped on the hype train for Mike Conley this playoffs.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. We have to talk about
this is hilarious right here.
All right, Tony Allen.
Whoa,
hard foul. We'll give him that. We'll give him that.
But watch this. Look at this Oscar right here. Oscar-winning performance.
Rolling around the ground. He didn't even hit his head on the ground.
Denzel move over. Denzel who?
Right.
He got fined for that too.
For the flop?
Yes.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, that got confirmed.
Okay,
yeah,
good. Because that's probably the biggest flop I've ever seen.
But I love Tony Allen. It got him in that game. What if they would have won? That money was well spent.
Right. He took. I wonder, did they split that? Hey guys, I took one for the team. It cost me $25,000.
Well, that's like a dinner. That's like chicken wings for them. That's not a lot of money for them.
And whatever, it still is my money.
But yeah, Tim Duncan, Hall of Famer, was big at the end of this game. Just look at these shots. Look at the floater. The floater, back rim, soft
Shooter's touch.
Shooter's touch. Tim Duncan came up big as he always does, and and this shot right here, this is a good shot. Bayless, that's his shot. That pull up
coming to the left.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Tony Parker didn't shoot well from the field, but he was big. Yeah. He made a stamp. He put his stamp on this game.
Definitely. He's playing like one of those veterans, which he is. Almost like a flawless game. He took a couple bad shots, but other than that, he played a flawless game.
Right.
And they pretty much were in control of the whole time.
Right. So that was a pretty tough series.
So my question is, where does it go from here? Do the Grizzlies have a chance?
That's a good question
because
guess what?
A team just another day at the office.
Guess what? Last year we wrote off the Grizzlies as well when they were down 0-2 against the Clippers.
Right.
And I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not even going to bring up that I picked the Grizzlies to win it and you did. Yeah.
Please don't bring
I just brought it up. But anyway, I'm sticking with my guns, man. I'm staying with it. And they went down.
So what was what are you saying? What's going to happen here in this series?
I'm saying they're going to go home and take 2 in Memphis.
Okay.
I hope.
I'm gonna say they only take 1 in Memphis.
Yeah, where's Elvis when you need him? We need a miracle.
Yeah, you sure do, bro. You sure do. What they really need. What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
I was gonna say what they really need is they're gonna need some adjustments from their coach.
Yeah. Speaking of coach, you mean Ronald Isley?
Don't go in on him like that.
Do we have that visual?
Yeah,
that's my guy.
He kind of does.
Check that out.
Maybe Ron Isley is coaching the Memphis Grizzlies right now.
Maybe he is. He came back from jail as the Memphis coach.
How you doing, Mr. Big? You got guys.
Make a big shot.
Right. That's Mr. Big right there.
That was Mr. Big. So that's why I'm going for Memphis because, I love Ronald Isley and I feel like either that's Ronald Isley in disguise.
That's why you picking the Grizzlies.
That's why I picked the Grizzlies. I was raised on Ronald Isley, and he looks like Ronald Isley. So I'm going for that guy. And I love his suits. He dressed like a deacon.
He looks like a deacon, like a preacher for sure.
Preacher, yeah,
for sure.
I just like that, so I'm going with that guy. I'm sticking with him.
Oh, and you got Jesus on your side.
Jesus is definitely on his side. The IRS isn't, but hey, wait, the IRS might come knock on Holland's door. They might, Ronald, is that you?
Right. R. Kelly in here?
Kelly? Treating my dog. What was that song with Kelly? Anyway,
man, all right.
So yeah, that was a good one. Let's get into some current news.
Second quarter. All right. Clippers.
Speaking of the Clippers,
a lot going on in Clipperland.
Well, yeah, Vinny, our boy Vinny Del Negro is gone.
And most people thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I called that actually. I actually tweeted that. You can go back and check that.
Should it have happened?
Yes. Simply because I get the feeling that Chris Paul wanted it to happen.
No, I heard from a reliable NBA source that he's the one that pulled the trigger. He's the same guy that got you the stats. Got me.
Okay, well, hey, you can't go to Clipper games and not invite me, dude. You go in the locker room info and. So anyway, wait, what did this guy say?
Basically, that Chris Paul, he's not mad at Vinny Del Negro, but in order for them to get to the next level, Chris Paul's trying to win a championship.
We have a caller. I agree, but it sounds like
we'll come back to Chris CP3 in a second.
Caller, state your name. Where you from? Locker room.
It's Evan from Concord, California. What's up, fellas?
How are you?
What up?
Good, man. I'm a big fan of the show, man.
Hey, we appreciate that. Welcome to the locker room, man. What do you want to talk about?
Send us some money.
Oh, man, those playoffs.
Okay.
Man, well, I mean, I heard you guys talk about pretty much, every squad out there that's still there. And, I mean, I think the last team you were talking about was the Spurs.
Right.
And, I mean, I just want to put it out there right now before anybody else that LeBron wants revenge.
Wow.
Against Tim Duncan.
Good point. Wow, good point.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, because he had him in Cleveland, and they embarrassed him.
Yes.
I mean, because that's when Tim Duncan was on his game.
He swept him, right? I think they got swept.
What's that?
I think they got swept. I think he swept LeBron.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think LeBron's ready. I mean, this is the thing, like, when I was growing up, I'm an 80s baby. So when I was growing up, everybody was a Jordan fan. And if you had a different team, you were still a Jordan fan, right?
Right, definitely.
But, I mean, what's happening now where, like, the best player on the planet, like, people are saying is weak and doesn't have any heart and all that kind of crap. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And let me ask you, Evan from Concord, like, where is the hate coming from? Because that's a good point you brought up. I don't remember this level of hate for Michael Jordan. We come home, you watch the games on WGN and Michael Jordan jerseys and people doing unnecessary reverse layups in games, and fadeaways. Right. We loved Come Fly With Me. Like, why is LeBron facing so much hate when obviously this guy is great?
Dude, I think it's social media.
Wow.
I think now we're so close to these players that we feel like, we know them.
Right.
Like, we feel like, they're normal.
Right.
I mean, LeBron's 6'8", 240 plus pounds.
That's not normal.
Like, it's not normal. And look what he's doing. Like, I mean, it's just not normal, but, he's tweeting and, he's in the club and,
right.
He's doing regular things.
Right.
And so we're thinking, he's just like me,
right.
But he's not.
So
he's phenomenal.
So you're saying you pop a bottle with LeBron and next thing you know, you're hating on him on social media, and that's where this is coming from. Because you couldn't just go play golf with Mike or smoke a cigar with Mike.
Right. Like, Zach, I mean, okay. Prime example. The Hanes commercial with Charlie Sheen. And Michael Jordan rolls up in the country club and he's in like a drop top. Like, Charlie Sheen's starstruck. Charlie Sheen was starstruck.
Right. Tiger blood. And he's winning. He's winning and he's starstruck.
So what's going on here? I mean, LeBron's golfing with Warren Buffett.
Right.
I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, he's a superstar.
Yes.
And I see people on Twitter just hating on him and saying he's weak, and
it's unbelievable.
It's just blowing my mind.
It's blowing mine too, and that's why I brought those stats out. Because the numbers have just got to change some of these haters' mentality because it's getting outrageous right now. I don't know what else LeBron has to do for people to stop. They're going to run out of. I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to run out of stuff to hate on.
But the whole idea of this person is the greatest, you don't throw that around loosely. Now, the hatred, I understand. There's no reason to hate.
No.
But at what point do you say, you know what, this dude might be the greatest player that we've ever seen?
In 4 years, if he keeps doing this.
We said that 4 years ago. You know what I mean?
Well, he's doing it now, though. I mean, sooner or later, I don't think you can hate on LeBron All they're going to be able to say is that his hairline is continuously going back.
You can hate on that. You can definitely hate on that.
Right. I mean, yeah.
And then
he's not a supermodel.
He's not a super. He's not in here. He's not on the court to be cute. So, you know, if LeBron, if he throws away the headband and shaves it off, then what? You know, like there's nothing else to talk about.
Right. Now he looks like the guy from Lord of the Rings.
Hey.
Wow.
I thought that was Rondo.
Hey, Rondo too. Hey, well, thank you, Evan from Congress, man. That was a great call, man.
Thanks for the call.
Please call in next week too, man.
All right, appreciate it, brothers.
All right, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good call, man. I feel him on that because, I mean, the hatred has just got outrageous for LeBron.
And I agree. You know, there's probably some people that are just saying it just to be different, just to go against the grain. And it's not based on any logic whatsoever.
And you know, it's that guy sitting on the couch with the pot belly with a bag of Lay's and some Sprite.
Can't dribble with his left hand.
He has not changed in 3 days. Can't dribble with his left hand, telling his son that he was first team all city.
Right.
And he's critiquing LeBron.
Yeah. Right. It's those guys.
That's the world we live in. Just a hater society.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to you haters, knock it off. Let's get back to the news.
All right, we were talking about the Clippers. All right.
Yeah.
So, supposedly, Chris Paul said, hey, I'm here for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the coach that's going to lead us there. It's either I goes or he goes because I'm trying to get this chip.
That's what I think happened. I mean, I don't see how anything else besides that happened. Chris Paul is the leader of this team. He's probably the best leader in the NBA. And the fact of the matter is, if he wanted Vinny, Dale
yes.
Negro.
Yes, Vinny Del Negro.
Negro?
I think that's how he pronounces it.
It's not Vinny Del Negro?
No.
I just been calling him that.
Yes.
That's my thing. Okay. So Vinny Del Negro. If Chris Paul wanted him to be there, he would still be there. Bottom line.
Sure.
You know.
Next question is, who does Chris Paul want?
I don't know. I've heard rumblings of Nate McMillan. I've heard what's the guy, Alvin Gentry. I personally like Nate McMillan. I think he'll be a good fit because I think he was a little bit too tough. In Portland. Yeah. But obviously he's not going to be too tough on Chris Paul.
But he did a decent job.
He preaches defense, which I think the Clippers need.
Defense first.
And I think somebody like Blake Griffin needs a tough coach.
Absolutely.
I mean, at some point, the guy got to understand dunking does not count for 20 points.
You're going to have to learn how to shoot a free throw, brother.
You're going to have to learn to do a move.
Yeah. And a move.
And I love you, Blake, but I mean, at some point,
and get your little homie DeAndre too. Y'all come in here and take some
Lob City and all that. Like that's got to go too. Yeah. That was fun, but they need a new mark. They need something else. They need a new tagline.
Right.
Like Win City or something.
Clippers, the big fundamental. That's what they need.
Yeah, they need some fundamentals over there. So good luck to Vinny Del Negro.
Well, they were talking about possibly bringing in or considering the coach, Phil Jackson.
And to the Clippers?
That's what they said. They said the only thing that's holding Sterling back was the fact that Phil is dating Jeannie Buss.
Really? What does Donald Sterling want to date Jeannie Buss?
No.
Oh no, because I mean I've met Donald personally.
The conflict of interest.
Let's just say he dabbles in the younger women. From what I hear, let me be quiet.
I was gonna say you guys was hanging out. I mean,
no. Well, I've met him before. You know, he owns like half the real estate out here. So let me be quiet before I don't have a place to sleep.
Come in, get a pink slip.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute. I didn't know Sterling owned this. He owns the world. He owns the world. Yeah.
So obviously that would be a conflict of interest.
Definitely. Well, whatever. I mean, he better move that to the side and get Phil if Phil wants to coach there. Could there be a better way for Phil to stick it to the Lakers?
I don't think so. It would be so awesome.
And I think the triangle would work.
Absolutely. You got a good point guard. I don't know who that. Well, I guess Blake could be the post guy in the triangle.
But with the triangle, they don't place a lot of emphasis on the point guard, so that would be different.
No, I'm talking about they place more emphasis on that guy who's in the post, the interior
definitely,
player. They're running the triangle.
Yeah, who's going to be that scoring guy? I guess if anybody can get it out of Blake, it's Phil. Give him a few Zen books.
He's not going to turn into a scorer.
Put him in yoga class and have him meditate to some post moves. Talk to Buddha about some post moves.
Sleep on a book about.
Speaking of needing to meditate about post moves, Dwight Howard.
Boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy.
Let's go from one super athlete without a lot of post moves to another. And I love Dwight Howard, D12. And obviously he was hurt this year, but he's been reportedly unhappy with Mike D'Antoni, whatever his name is. D'Antoni. Okay.
Yeah. And he's unhappy. Why is he unhappy?
He says D'Antoni didn't listen to some of his suggestions. He felt like he took
Coach
a back
Howard?
seat. Yeah, Coach Howard. Yeah, Apparently Howard is a pretty intelligent basketball player. as goofy as can be, but apparently he know. I mean, of course he's a star, so he has to have a pretty high.
Something
basketball.
got him there.
Something got him there, right? So, yeah. Apparently he didn't. He had some strong words for D'Antoni.
And did this just come out this week? Like
this week, just came out this week. And you know, my cup check has already went on record and saying he's not going anywhere. So it's getting interesting. There's been rumors that our Warriors are looking at him. Houston is definitely in the running. And Dallas is definitely in the running.
Yep, and Atlanta.
And
so
yeah, I don't think he's going to go to Atlanta just because I doubt he wants to play at home. Who wants to do that?
Well, most guys want to play at home.
No, you got your second cousin's cousin maybe calling you
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, ex-girl. Yeah, they all asking, can you get me a new car? My car broke down.
Yeah,
my plumbing is bad. Can you buy me a new house?
Yeah,
because my toilet don't work.
Yeah, that's bad.
Take
out the trash.
Yeah, take out. Who wants to deal with that? He doesn't want to deal with that. So, and another funny story is Phil Jackson apparently laughed when he was called in regards to the Lakers job, and
first time.
When he was told that D'Antoni would be getting the job from the GM,
and he laughed at their decision to pick up D'Antoni.
I find that hilarious.
I mean, I can't doubt that it happened.
He said it happened, so I don't think Phil will lie about anything like this.
Oh, Phil said this himself?
Phil said this, yes. He said when he heard that when Mike Kupchak called him, first of all, at 12 o'clock at night, woke him up
I heard about that.
and said, hey, we're going to go with D'Antoni. We think he's a better fit. He said he laughed.
Right.
Yeah. Is that disrespectful or what?
I mean, I think it's honest.
It's very honest because Phil's like
he's still laughing.
He's still laughing.
So he was right.
Instead of laughing to the bank, he's just laughing now.
You guys are idiots.
Yeah. Well, that's the Lakers' problem. Let's get a little bit into the lottery draft. Cleveland won again. How does this keep happening? They bring the little boy, his son, Gilbert's son, and every time he shows up, they just win. He looks like the little kid from Jerry Maguire, doesn't he? Sort of.
Hey man,
shout out to the Gilbert's son, whatever his name is, that keeps them winning the number one pick.
I feel sorry for Cleveland.
If only there was another LeBron coming out,
man. Because this is not the draft to have the
this
number
is
one
not
pick.
the draft. Let's talk about that, man. I mean, this is who. I don't think there's anyone worthy of a number one pick right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that number one pick doesn't mean much.
And I think, and this is why I think they will trade the number one pick. I think that number one pick will be traded.
That would be smart.
I do. I think if they get a taker, they will trade that. I think that's all we need to say. There's just not that much to talk about in this college basketball draft.
So you trade the number one pick for what? Like, how do you start to patch in the holes?
I think you look for a veteran player that can help your team, or you just move down. Move down in the draft. I mean, you just maybe you get another pick or get some money. It doesn't really matter. I mean, like, to me, all top 10 players are the same. You got the kid Noel. He's nice, but he blew his knee out.
Right.
Well,
there's nobody head and shoulders above the rest this year. So.
Now the 2014 draft will be amazing. All those young kids that's going to Kentucky. Kentucky's team will be in the draft.
Yes. Right.
And the kid Andrew Wiggins from
Wildcats will be in the
they're
draft.
just going to bring the whole Kentucky team to the draft.
Yeah.
Let's get into some football now.
Okay.
Crabtree. That's a tough one.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Tore his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
It's something about the Achilles. I keep hearing, even some of my friends on Facebook are tearing their, is it something in the water, the air? What's going on?
That's a good question because honestly, I think, you noticed when the football almost had that lockout and people were popping their Achilles like, it was nothing.
Well, we thought it was because of the layoff.
Well, I think it still is. I've read some articles that talks about like people who do the decathlon or whatever that thing is, when you run all over the place.
Marathon?
Not
triathlon?
Triathlon, I think, yeah. I'm not seasoned in my Olympic things.
Right.
They say that if you don't stay warmed up and do a lot of activity and you warm your ligaments up, and you can pop them. Yeah. And I just think maybe these players aren't working out hard enough in the offseason. I'm not saying this about Crabtree, but, I mean, it just seems like when you jump right into it, you get right into OTAs and you pop a ligament like that.
But it seems like it started happening like over the last 2 or 3 years.
I mean,
back in the 80s and 90s, I don't remember anyone tearing their Achilles.
These athletes are more explosive. And I just think, and you can stretch your Achilles. It can get more flexible.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. What I do know is that the 49ers need help now at the wide receiver. I mean, how big is Anquan Bolden signing?
That's huge.
That's huge now.
That's huge. And he's still got some gas in the tank.
Because Crabtree was coming on big at the end of the year. We started, you heard the whispers of bust, And then, boom, they plug Kaepernick in, and Crabtree looks like he's back at Texas Tech.
He had his best year, over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's going to be those are big shoes to fill.
But we know the Niners are going to lean on a run and play defense.
And they have a pretty complete team.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think they'll.
And they're looking to get Crabtree back by week 12. I think that's a bit optimistic. You know,
I think he's done for the season.
No, I think he can come back in the playoffs, if at all.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, people are looking at Terrell Suggs, but that's a different position for one.
Right.
And, you know, he's not going to be doing as much, you know, cutting and stopping and going as Crabtree will at the receiver position.
Achilles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, who knows? After Peterson, I believe anything is possible.
But look at Kobe. You can't say Kobe wasn't working out.
Of course he was, but Kobe's old, and I say Father Time waits for no man. No man.
Okay.
Let's end off football. Let's talk about your boy C-Dub, known as Charles Woodson. Mm-hmm. He's going back home.
Yeah,
to the Raiders.
And there's a lot of Raider fans that are happy about that.
They should. I like Charles. I think he'll be good for that secondary as a leader.
Yeah.
My question is why.
That's my question too, and I'm a Raider fan. So why would you want to end your career like that?
Right. He was being courted by the Broncos, and my guess is, I think the Raiders only offered him about $600,000 more. So I don't know if it's necessarily about the money.
A team that's going to go deep in the playoffs,
right? And in a 4-win at most team, at most. I mean, that's even if the Raiders don't look like they have much going on. I could be wrong. You never know. But and so I'm thinking, this is my thought. I think that Charles Woodson saw because they have two young players. I think it's Adams and Moore that they like over there and with the Broncos. Mm-hmm. And maybe he felt that they were going with a youth movement and he couldn't crack the starting lineup. He knows he's going to start with the Raiders.
Definitely going to start.
And he's going to play a lot.
But if you're not going to win. I mean, I know we all want to be out there and we all want to play. But if you're not going to win, why sacrifice your body? We're talking about this with Lorenzo.
C-Dub loves the game, and I think the last 2 years he's been so banged up. I think he just wants to give it one more run, the last hurrah.
Yeah.
He loves the game like that. I mean, this is a football player.
Definitely. He is a football player.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on. You can be on a team with Peyton Manning that's going to go deep in the playoffs. May even have a shot at a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would have I would have played at Mile High.
I mean, is it about me or is it about these championships?
Maybe he likes the food in Oakland. Maybe like Everett Jones.
Hey,
Fat Giant Burger.
Casper's
Nations.
La Piñata.
La Piñata. People are like, what are these? Right. These are restaurants in Oakland, California. You should go visit.
Yes.
Because you might see Charles Woodson there. So yeah, let's get into a break, man. And when we get back, we're going to have Where They Do That Now, our new segment.
Right, Where They Do That At.
Where They Do That At.
Right.
And then we're going to get into our interview with the young up-and-coming coach, Kense Henson.
Yeah, so stick around.
Locker Room Live.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Locker Room Live, TV.com.
Welcome back to the locker room, fellas.
I am John Reed.
And ladies.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Smitty Clutch here. Hey, world.
Twitter. Follow us. A lot of good stuff. Facebook.
At Smitty Clutch.
Locker Room Live. Facebook.
Locker Room Live TV is the website. Please go check out that. We got videos, articles.
Instagram.
Everything sports.
We got social media game on lock.
Yes.
Come
check us out.
at us.
Check us out. So let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So, new segment. Third quarter here. We're in the second half of Locker Room Live. Now we're going to talk about, it's almost like the ESPN Not So Top 10, but this is our version of it.
But better.
But
where they do that at?
So one thing that I noticed over the last, is this week 4?
Yeah.
This is week 4, right? One thing I noticed is that in the news, there's always some sort of ridiculous tomfoolery that we end up talking about.
Total debauchery, just shenanigans. Ratchet shenanigans.
And, I always caught myself thinking to myself,
where they do that at?
Where did he think that was cool? Where they do that at?
What city? What state?
So
county?
we got a couple this week.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out where did he get this bright idea?
Yeah.
Who's the first one?
We got the high school kid, Harris.
Okay.
Out of New Jersey, I believe.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Young guy.
Yeah.
We're going to go in on a young guy.
Yeah. I mean, he needs it.
Okay. Teach him, Pops.
Yeah, because, so apparently this young player, I believe he's out of New Jersey, young football player, he got a scholarship to Michigan State to play football, in which he...
That's good.
Yeah, it's very good. That's a great...
Big school.
Big Ten. A lot of great players coming out of... Spartans. Big-time players come out of Michigan State. Instead of, training and being excited and telling his family, he went on and he put out a rap video on YouTube.
Okay, that's cool. In his spare time?
Apparently, no, not. This is
because he's excited about playing for Michigan State, right?
Well, obviously, he was excited about this YouTube video because in the video or in the rap song, he probably said some things he should not have said, and Michigan State got a hold of this, and they took a scholarship away.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Now, your average kid, this happens to your average athlete. He's heartbroken, right? Maybe he's looking at he got a scholarship from Michigan State, so obviously some other schools want him too. No biggie, right? He's probably brokenhearted, but he can bounce back. No, not this guy. He said, you know what? Since that happened, I'm going to take it as a sign, and I'm going to do my rapping thing. Lil Wayne, Wale.
So I come. He's not going to play football.
He's not going to play football. He's about to spit high 16s, son.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight.
Yeah. Put the pigskin away, grab the microphone.
Heavily recruited. Got into one of the best football schools traditionally.
Say, nah, brother.
In the country.
Yeah.
And he said, I just don't feel like doing that.
Give me a beat CD.
And do we have a name on this guy?
Last name Harris. When I heard the story, I was just...
Did you hear the music? Is it...
I did not, no. And I won't. I wish the best for the kid. But,
it better be hot.
But, there's so much competition in rappers. Who isn't a rapper?
I know people that are hot that are working at the gas station.
Exactly.
So...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone's family has at least 3 rappers in it at the dinner table.
Okay, right.
So yeah,
I'm the greatest rap star in my apartment complex.
So you say, because I feel like I'm the best rapper on my block. But then again, if you go 2 blocks over, maybe somebody has me on the freestyle.
Right.
Because it's that competitive.
Right.
But like I said, you don't find many D1 athletes. There's not many people running 4.4s, 4.5s.
No.
Solid, in shape. You get your...
for football.
Yeah, you can find somebody outside the gas station that can spit you a high 16, son. So
wow. Okay, where's his parents?
I don't know.
Did they chime in on this and say, "Oh yeah,
I don't
son,
know. That would be a good question. I would love to interview them.
Okay, Jersey. So where they do that at? Apparently in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, they say,
Bricks.
Yeah, in Brick City, they said, yeah, we're gonna put this football aside and go for the stage life.
Yeah, son. Okay.
Anyway,
where they do that?
Yeah, let's get to some golf.
Oh yeah,
my boy Sergio,
awesome.
He's so awesome.
Oh boy,
so
awesome.
You want to tell this story?
All right. So obviously Tiger Woods and your boy Sergio Garcia have had a colorful past. They just don't like each other.
And how do you have like a rivalry in golf?
Well, supposedly it's because Sergio, and Tiger, they're battling, final hole or whatever.
That way you give him the stare down on the final hole.
Well, supposedly Tiger would do things like, throw his hands up in the air right when Sergio's about to hit, so he makes the crowd go crazy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Right, so he makes the crowd go crazy.
Like a free throw,
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. But Sergio's over here, so it's distracting.
Okay.
Or he'll cough or something.
I was
while
confused. I was
Sergio's-
like, what is he doing? Like popping his collar or his polo after he nails a shot, or like what? How can you insult someone in golf?
I guess, I don't know, messing up their shot.
Okay. Anyway,
so
what is
supposedly Sergio doesn't like Tiger for always distracting him and doing little things to rile up the gallery while he's trying to, get his putting game on, right?
his putt on.
But it was taken to a whole new level this past week because I don't even know how to preface this. When asked,
So then he asked her, "Are you going to have Tiger over for dinner?"
is that what he asked?
Yeah, he said, "Are you going to have Tiger over for dinner?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. We'll have him over, and we'll also make some fried chicken."
Which echoes Fuzzy Zeller from a few years
exactly.
ago.
Fuzzy did say, but he added collard greens into it.
He said, "No, well, yeah, just make sure they don't have fried chicken and collard greens
and
at the championship dinner."
whatever those people eat.
Right,
So
and
Fuzzy,
walked off.
Yeah, Fuzzy,
dropped the mic.
Yeah, Fuzzy was upset. He went all the way off the deep end. But this guy Sergio, he just said, "Hey, man, we'll have some fried chicken for him." I found it hilarious. As a black male, I mean, it's wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I have thick skin. I just thought it was funny. I don't eat fried chicken personally, but if he'd have said watermelon, he'd have had me there because I love watermelon.
Well, he's apologizing profusely right now because supposedly he didn't mean it. He said it on a European comedy show.
Yeah.
And so, they're telling jokes and he's trying to be funny too.
Yeah.
And
He
keep
probably
up
thought it
with
would
them.
fly in Europe,
Right. But when people are put outside their element,
Right.
and they're trying to keep up,
Right.
you hear the truth, what
Right.
really comes out.
Right.
It's not like one of those Freudian slips where he just said the wrong food.
And as soon as he said it, I just know he was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. I hope no one hears this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a stereotype. I mean, we've all said some things we didn't want to say. It doesn't make him a racist. But he could be one. I don't know the guy personally. I just think it was funny, but obviously it's not good for his career,
Not a good look.
which is also funny to me.
And I don't know, last person that made Tiger mad on a golf course got smoked.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
The only person that can mess up Tiger's golf game is his ex-wife.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Sergio, so hey, maybe that's good news for him. Maybe it's bad. At the end of the day, he's not as good as Tiger. So Tiger probably could beat him holding a piece of fried chicken.
Sergio's actually decent.
He
He's
is
nice.
decent, but he's not better than Tiger right now.
No, Tiger's making his move back
Yeah.
to the top.
Yeah, so if Tiger's eating fried chicken, that's a winning fried chicken.
Right. Maybe Sergio should eat some fried chicken.
Right, exactly. So anyway, man, let's get into our awesome interview we have.
Cool.
You
Kense Henson.
You want to talk a bit about the young coach, Kense Henson of Montana?
Well, I think I kind of want to hear his story from him directly.
Yeah, right from
a great coach. Really started from the bottom.
Yeah.
And is making his way.
All
I
the
don't
way
know how far he wants
all
to
the
take
way,
it.
all the way to the top.
All the way to the top.
Let's bring him in. Kense Henson, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
We're pretty good. How are you?
I'm chilling, man. How y'all been, man? I've been listening to the show. A lot of opinions over there, man.
Yeah, we have strong opinions. That's what we're about. You don't. We if you don't agree with it, that's just tough. You still got to listen to it. Well, we want to get your opinion on a lot of this football inside news. And so, first, tell us about how did you come up in this career in the coaching business?
Well, probably like a lot of cats that coach, man. I couldn't keep playing. I finished up playing, had a semester of school left, and my head coach I was coaching with thought it'd be a good idea that I help him out. I played defense really my whole career.
And where did you play?
And what's that?
Where did you play?
Willamette University.
Okay.
Up in Salem, Oregon. Beautiful Salem, Oregon.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I played defensive back there, was a corner. He thought it'd be a good idea for me to work on the offensive side of the ball. Thought it'd help me in terms of learning football. And I haven't coached defense ever, which is kind of crazy, but worked there, bounced around, man. Some real small schools, Quincy University, worked at Boise State.
Wow, big.
Minnesota State, Western Washington, was at Yale for 3 years, and I just finished my first year at Montana. So
Now, you said you worked at Boise State. Was that under Peterson? Were you there when Peterson was there?
It was Dan Hawkins was our head coach. Chris Peterson was our offensive coordinator at the time.
Wow. And is he truly the football genius that everyone says he is?
You know what he is, man. Piece to man. Got a great perspective on life in general. Great X's and O's guy, understands kids, sharp. He's one of the best in it, that's for sure.
Wow. Now you said you played defense in college, but now you're coaching offense. How does that work out, man?
How do you make that transition?
How do you make? Because anybody that played ball, that plays football, we know that defensive guys hate offensive guys and everything that they stand for. So.
Yeah. I was no different. But you know what, man? I think for me, it made a lot of sense. I was coaching wide receivers, and so in my meeting, I could kind of tell those dudes, hey, here's why this guy's lining up the way he is, and here's why, the coverage shell looks like that. And so you give them some insight from when you played, and it makes those guys better players. It makes you a better coach. I think everybody should do that, to be honest. I think there's a lot of guys that benefit from playing one side of the ball and then coaching the other side. Because you learn kind of the nuances of it.
Right.
And, to be honest, early on, I needed jobs, and those were the ones that I was blessed to get.
So you got bills to pay, man.
So, after 11 years, I've got solely an offensive resume. So I'm an offensive guy, and that's okay, man. I love it. I love that side of the ball. It's a good challenge.
Nice.
So I got a question. I mean, we sit here and we're, armchair critics. We talk about, Rex Ryan is stupid and Tom Coughlin is this. Yeah. And, we're always critiquing the decisions that are made.
We sound like we know what we're talking about.
We really have no idea what we're talking about. But from a real coach, right, what is coaching really about? Is it just X's and O's? Is it just hanging out with a clipboard and telling people what to do?
Yeah, what makes a good coach?
Well, you talked about Rex Ryan. Now he's a little different because he is really the defensive coordinator. But a lot of people, when you become the head coach, you don't do much football. You're dealing with people, you're managing people, you're in charge of the whole operation. And so you hire good people to take care of the X's and O's. And so a lot of times, guys want to throw the head coach under the bus, and ultimately the head coach is responsible. But, there's some head coaches that don't make the calls on third down. Some of them don't make them on fourth down.
Right.
He may tell the coordinator, hey, you got 4 downs. He might say, hey, I want to run the ball. But the actual play is the coordinator to make.
Right.
Every situation is different. So, the head coach, gets too much credit, probably a lot of blame. That isn't right at times, but that's kind of the job. Coaching in general, the X's and O's is important because we all, we get paid to score points and to win games. But you can't do that without the kids trusting you. And that goes from all levels, from Pop Warner to the NFL. I mean, if those guys don't respect you and think you can help them become better football players, and it don't matter what you know, because they're not going to listen.
Right.
And so, a lot of it is managing personalities, understanding people. We coach a sport that's got a ton of people. I mean, on a college football roster, you're going to deal with over 100 people.
Wow.
Obviously, those guys are all different. What motivates, one kid won't motivate the other one. And so it's your job as a coach. We're teachers, man. That's what we do. Just like the good teachers can they can teach the ADD kid as well as the nerd.
Don't go there. So what's your coaching style, Coach Henson? Are you a player's coach, or are you tough on them? Are you a rah-rah guy? Are you a motivator? How would you explain how you go about coaching, your style?
Man, I'm not one way, The player's coach term, I think people kind of, to me, it's got a negative connotation because it almost implies that you're a little soft.
Right.
I think at times I'm that, if my guys earn that. At times, I will rip a guy if he needs it. I'm not a big, screamer, cusser, yeller, because I personally, that wouldn't work for me. I kind of talk to people like they're grown, because the level we're at, they are. We're dealing with guys that are 18 to 23 years old, and they're grown men. I mean,
young men
with a lot of stuff, and so they all understand their jobs, and we all got a job to do. And so, I'm all of those things, man. I wouldn't describe my coaching style as one way, because everybody needs a different stimulus in terms of teaching. Some guys want you to yell at them, some guys don't. You got to find your kids' threshold for learning and coach them that way.
It's interesting that you talk about what's needed for these guys, for these kids, what really connects with them. in the news we hear all these stories about this guy got a DUI and this guy beat up his wife and this guy dropped out of school and this guy couldn't get the grades. I mean, it's every offseason there's a ton of these stories.
Then they end up on where they do that at.
And then they end up on that segment that we just had. But as a coach, from your perspective, what would you – I mean, maybe every situation is different, but what would you say is the reason why these players fall off track when it seems like it's so easy for them to make decisions? You're here. All you got to do is go to class and play football. That's it.
Yeah, but that's not easy for a lot of people. And that's in life, man. I call it the bad news. I mean, if you watch the news, 98% of it's going to be bad news in any job. Whether it's politics, whether it's the media, Hollywood, bad news makes news, and so our sport is no different. I mean, like I said, you got 105 kids. Some of them aren't good people. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Right.
Everybody's got a different background and how they came up.
And those are the ones we hear about.
Those are the guys you hear about.
Right.
I mean. There's a perception. I mean, I've been fortunate to work in 3 NFL training camps. And, you hear about the spoiled professional athletes that don't listen. They aren't coached. They're just wilding out. And that was not my experience at all. I mean, the majority of those guys are hardworking guys. A lot of them are fathers and husbands and responsible guys. And it's the few that you hear about because they make good news.
Right.
And so to me, it's no different than society, man. The guys that have problems in every other phase of life have problems. Some guys have problems in college because it's hard. There's a lot of rules in college football. You do have to go to class. You do have to, be NCAA compliant. You can't take money for various reasons. When you get to the next level, you're paid to be a professional. So your life becomes a lot simpler. And so some guys who are always in trouble in college, you never hear about them being in trouble in the NFL because life is simpler, actually. You look at a guy like Terrell Pryor. Terrell Pryor hadn't made the news, but he was the face of what was wrong with college football a couple of years ago.
Right.
But now that he's getting paid to make a living, he can do that.
Right.
And so it's a big issue. A lot of it stems from the system that is college football. That's probably another topic for another show. But to answer your question, man, I don't think it's any different than regular society. It's just our guys are on the stage.
Now you're a young African American coach. So tell us, how do you really feel? Do you think there needs to be a Rooney Rule? How do you feel about that rule in the NFL?
Football.
Say again.
In the NFL, I think they got the right idea. I think that the Rooney Rule it's good because it creates conversations that may never happen. You don't have a Mike Tomlin if there is no Rooney Rule potentially.
Right.
And so there's a place for that.
And this is a rule when they have to interview a black coach.
You've got to interview an African American or a minority for any head coach or general manager opening, which I think is good because even if you don't get the job, even if it is a token interview, in the NFL, man, because of the nature of the beast, there's turnover every year. The guy who's sitting in that room might be the assistant general manager, and the next year he might be a general manager.
Right.
And because he had that opportunity to see you and hear you, that opens another door. The fault, I guess, for me is that I think they need to do something at the ground level. If you look at a lot of guys that are coaching in the professional ranks, a lot of those guys started, and you hear the stories about the guy who was making $20,000 as Bill Belichick's personal assistant. And, we don't get those opportunities, and I think the thing that would help keep good, talented coaches in the cycle is hiring, quality control, young assistant coaches, so they grow up in that league. And in 5-10 years, you can hear about the Josh McDaniels and the Jim Schwartzes and all those guys who are the so-called hot up-and-coming coaches. For us, that isn't really the case. I mean, we get a few of those guys because they get opportunities. Mike Tomlin was one. Raheem Morris was one. But they're few and far between. I think the NFL could help that if they kind of looked at doing a little bit more from the ground level, and not so much from the top. Coordinators. We need more African American coordinators, offensively in particular.
Right. Well, we look for you to be one of those young up and coming coordinators. So we know you have the talent to be that.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. But, college is a different monster.
Yeah.
They definitely need something, I think, in college football. It'd be hard to regulate it because of the way it is, but it's a problem, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for coming with us, man, on this show, Kense. And we're going to look out for you. We really appreciate you, man, and keep doing the good work.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. So this is another Locker Room Live show, and we look to have you back next Friday.
LockerRoomLiveTV.com. Check us out.
Smitty Clutch, started from the bottom.
We here.